Hello everybody, Average Gamer here, and welcome to a new playthrough. So in the last episode, Germany, we were pretty much like one step away from knocking out China, which means it was only a matter of time before we took out the UK. So, take a sip of my drink here. What we're going to be doing in this episode is doing something a little different. We're actually going to play as Canada during World War One. Our primary concern is going to be logistically supporting the UK in the war, in when, if, how the war breaks out. But also, we might not. One of the reasons why I want to do this video, it's going to be shorter than the other ones, but as you guys already know, League of Nations, blah, blah, blah. So basically, what's going on is this. We have to decide who's our horse in this race. Do we still want to stick with Britain? Do we want to support Germany? Do we want to kind of sit back and let the European powers slug it out themselves? And then swoop in after we've built ourselves up a nice big military? Do we want to take advantage of the fact that the United States will get involved in a war in Europe? And maybe swoop into the United States and take the United States out? There's a lot of options, a lot of things that we're going to have to look at. So I'm going to leave this to you guys. I'm not going to record anything beyond this. So this is going to be going out on Monday. Then the actual series will start up the following week. And I want to ask you guys this. As Canada, what do you guys think we should do? Should we go our own way and pave the way for a great Canadian empire? Because right now, we are just Canada. We're not actually the Dominion of Canada, though technically we should be. Actually, you know what? We should change our name. Should be able to do it in here, don't I? Can I not change my name? Oh, there we go. We actually should be... Oh, okay, well, I can't... There we go. The Dominion of Canada. There it goes. We actually don't be in Canada until, I think in the 20s? Or at least 30s. Well, we're Canada by World War II, I know that. Actually, maybe we weren't. No, we weren't. We actually didn't become Canada until like the 50s or the 60s, I think. Because we're technically a dominion of Great Britain, of England. So, we were still rather significantly not autonomous in any form or fashion. So with that in mind, what I want to do, we already know Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. What I want to know from you guys is this. Should we rebel against our English masters and their supporters and pave the way for the Canadian Empire like our forefathers in the UK did, where they released the shackles of their restraints within the island of England and went to conquer the majority of the world? Should we support our old English masters or our current English masters in their fight with other imperial powers and friendly members in Europe? Should we side with the Germans during this war of aggression and assist with their conquest of France, Belgium, Luxembourg, the United Kingdom, Russia, the Far East, and in the hopes of getting our piece of the pie in North America and taking on the United States ourselves and getting that German support? Or should we let the fight go as planned, stay neutral, wait till the United States gets involved in the war over Europe, wait till the Americans send tons of troops over to Europe, and then we ninja, as I like to call it, a win, and get a massive bunch of basically armored cars and cavalry, and do a massive cavalry charge down here and capture DC and force the Americans to surrender while their entire military force is in Europe, or not even mobilized yet. Basically attack them before they have a chance to mobilize. Many options available to us. So we have go it alone and pave the way for our own future. Isolation is another option where we basically just ignore everybody and do our own thing. The third option, support Germany. Actually, let's start this all over again. Option number 1, historical. Support the France and the UK. Send troops over as fast as we can, as often as we can. And basically fortify and build up an area ourselves roughly around here-ish. And just try to help hold the part of Calais, maybe. And just kind of hold this area against German aggression. Option B, side with Germany and the Austro-Hungarian Empire in this war to take on Europe and France, or England and France. Option C, stay out of the war altogether and play isolationist. Canada's interest is its own interests. It's not the world's interests, nor do we bother with the petty squabbles of other countries. There's that option. Option number 4. We take advantage of the fact that there's going to be a massive world war, and we declare war on a couple of nations. We capture some territories. We broaden our abilities over the world. We create a Canadian empire, a Canadian colonial empire as well. For example, we move units down to Cuba, down to Haiti, down to the Dominican Republic. Turn those places into puppets. Turn some places down here into puppets. Make some moves on... You're not going to work. Maybe Liberia, because they're the only ones that are actually independent, pretty much. That aren't landlocked. In Africa. Maybe make some moves into the Pacific. Maybe try to make some moves on Siam, for example. Siam has, if I'm not mistaken, access to rubber, which is going to be something we are seriously going to need. Well, as a colonial, as a former colonial power, one thing that former colonial powers try to do is imitate their parents. The U.S. tried it with Liberia and failed, and Cuba. Now it's our turn. Let's learn from the lessons of the Americans and the British on what to do and what not to do. With that in mind, thanks for watching, and I hope to hear you guys' feedback as to the options that we should do. Oh, and then the last one is obviously the one I mentioned before. Let the war in Europe happen. Wait for the Americans to get involved. Wait for the Americans to send troops, warships, material, and people to Europe. And then stab the Americans in the back. Rush right into DC. Capture it and force the Americans to surrender immediately and unconditionally. And then we will have all of North America to ourselves. And we just sit back and work on our own nation. Work on pretty much everything on our own. I think the only thing we won't have is rubber. Yeah, because that's not red. Yeah, pretty much the only thing we wouldn't have is rubber. But we can definitely quickly correct that. Actually, no, we'll have rubber in Hawaii. But hopefully by then the Brits have either fallen or what have you. But we'll support, probably at this point, the Germans. Because we'll want things like the British Malay States to have independence. We'd want, obviously, the Dutch East Indies to have independence. Or we might just go after the Dutch. That'll get us a foothold in Europe. It'll also get us a foothold in the Pacific. It'll give us access to some rubber. So, lots of different options. Lots of different things we can do. I can't see the Dutch really giving us much of a problem. But we'll have to figure that out as things go on. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave your feedback in the comments below. I'll see you guys when this series starts. See you next time. See you in the battlefield. Bye-bye.